Hi, welcome to Triple R Ministries. We will be discussing the topics of Pharaoh's dreams, Joseph's rise to power, Joseph's brothers go to Egypt, the brothers return to Canaan, Joseph's brothers return with Benjamin, Joseph's cup, Judah intercedes for Benjamin, and Joseph revealed to his brothers. Okay, so Genesis chapter 41. Pharaoh has to start off, Joseph was in jail for 2 years now. The story's in the previous videos. So at this point in time, Pharaoh has two dreams. He has two dreams. He dreams that he sees 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows. And then the 7 skinny cows ate the 7 fat cows and he woke up. Then he had another dream. He seen 7 heads of grain on one stalk, and then he saw 7 thin heads of grain on another stalk, and the 7 thin heads ate up the 7 healthy heads of grain. And he awoke, and he consulted all of his magicians and wise men, and none of them could interpret the dreams that he had. So he had a butler, and his butler remembered Joseph from the prison. And he's like, hey, there's a guy down there that knows how to interpret dreams. And Pharaoh's like, all right, go get him. So they went and got Joseph, cleaned him up real good, and they brought up Joseph to Pharaoh's presence, and they told Joseph the dream. Joseph acknowledged that all interpretation comes from the Lord, and he interpreted Pharaoh's dreams for him. The interpretation was the 7 fat cows represented 7 good years, and the 7 skinny cows represented 7 years of famine. And the 7 years of famine would devour the 7 good years, so it would be like they never existed in the first place, the 7 good years. So what Joseph recommended that Pharaoh should do is appoint some wise man to store up 1/5 of the grain during the 7 good years, so that when the 7 bad years come, the 7 years of famine, they still have, food and whatnot. And Pharaoh approved of the advice, and he acknowledged the spirit of God in Joseph, and placed Joseph above all of his house. In fact, he made Joseph second in command over all Egypt. The only person that had more power than Joseph was Pharaoh himself. And he gave Joseph a signet ring off of his hand. He gave him fine clothes, jewelry, gold chains. He gave him a wife. And with this wife, Joseph ended up having 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And so Joseph was in charge of gathering all the grain and stuff like that, and essentially he gathered so much grain that it was unnumerable due to how much it was. So now the famine was so severe it spread over all of the earth. Now Joseph's brothers end up going to Egypt. Jacob actually sent them to Egypt because the famine was there, and he's like, man, we hear there's food. Jacob's like, we hear there's food in Egypt. Go get some food. While y'all sitting here, we gonna sit around and die. Go get some food from Egypt. So they go to get some grain from Egypt, and Joseph was in charge of distributing all the grain. Now Joseph recognized his brothers when he seen them, but his brothers didn't recognize Joseph in all of his glory and gold and setup. So Jacob, like, first his brothers come and they bow down to him, that's just a custom of how you greet the Pharaoh type dude, I guess. And Joseph's like, what are you guys doing here? You guys are spies. You came to see the nakedness of the land. That's what you came to do. They like, no, man, we just came to buy grain for our family and go back. Jacob like, no, y'all spies. So he threw him in jail for 3 days. You know what I'm saying? And so after a few days, though, his heart came to him. He's like, okay, let me let him out. Let me let my brothers out and send them back with some food. So this is what he did, because he had questioned them and asked them who are they and where they came from, and they told him everything. They told him about how all the brothers that they had and his father and stuff like this. So Joseph's like, all right, this is what you do. I'm going to give y'all food, and y'all can go back and give it to your family, but I want you to bring your other brother back with you, your brother Benjamin, the younger one that you told me about, so I know that y'all not spies. And they like, all right, cool. So Joseph sent them away, and then their sacks of grain that he gave them, he actually slipped their money back inside of their sacks of grain. So the brothers returned to Canaan, and let me stop for a second, because Joseph actually kept one of the brothers in prison, Simeon, when he sent them away and told them to bring Benjamin back. So he kept one of the brothers in custody. At any rate, all the brothers returned to Canaan with the money in their sacks, and they told Jacob about everything that happened in their encounter with some strange dude, because remember, they didn't recognize Joseph or whatnot. So Jacob like, whatever, I'm not sending Benjamin back, because Benjamin was Jacob's only son by Rachel. Rachel had Joseph and Benjamin, and at this point in time, Jacob thinks that Joseph's dead, so he's like, I'm not sending my other son. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so Genesis chapter 43, the famine is very severe. Okay, so Jacob's like, all right, look, y'all gotta go get some grain from Egypt. And they like, man, we can't go back unless we bring Benjamin, and he gonna kill us. So Jacob like, man, I guess if I gotta send him, all right, I'm gonna send him, because we gonna be dead anyway. So here, but take gifts, take double money and all of this stuff, and and just try to bring my son back safe. And Judah's like, oh, I'll make sure he comes back safe and all this stuff. I'll be the responsible party or what have you. So Joseph called all this. They returned to Egypt to get the grain. They brought little Benjamin in. Joseph called all his brothers in to dine with them. He had them prepare food and stuff like this, and when Joseph saw Benjamin, his younger brother, he ran off to weep. He ran off and cried somewhere in the back rooms, and washed his face off and came back and sat down and ate with him. And he gave Benjamin 5 times the serving as he gave all his other brothers. And real quick, the reason that he did this is because he wanted to see if his brothers were against Benjamin like they were against him when they sold him into slavery. He was kind of testing them. Okay, Genesis chapter 44. So Joseph filled all his bags with grain and all this stuff and sent them on their way. And returned Simeon, and he let Benjamin go as well. But what he did was he took his cup and hid it in Benjamin's sack, so that when he sent them off, he told his servant, like, okay, go catch up with them and search their sacks and say somebody stole my cup, and we're gonna take that person as a slave who stole the cup, right? So he put the cup in Benjamin's sacks, sent them all off. The servant ran and caught up with him. He's like, oh, thief, somebody stole my master's cup. They like, oh no, whoever stole the cup, you can kill him right here. We ain't steal no cup. So they went through the bag. Sure enough, found it in Benjamin's bag. And then all of their hearts failed. They like, oh my goodness, what we gonna do? But all of them returned with Benjamin. And they all returned with Benjamin back to Joseph's presence. And Joseph's like, all right, so I'm just gonna take this young Benjamin as my slave since he stole a cup from me, And Judah's like, no, please. Don't take him. Take me instead as the slave. But let the lad be innocent. And he told him the whole story. Judah told Joseph the whole story about how their other brothers no more. They pretty much told Joseph how Joseph died. Essentially, they're like, well, my father already lost one son, and he couldn't lose this other son. or you know, he'll go down to his grave in sorrow and all this other stuff. So take me as your slave instead, type of deal. Don't keep Benjamin. So Joseph went and hid himself and cried again, and came back in Genesis chapter 45 here, and he revealed himself. He like, okay, it is I, your brother Joseph. Does my father still live? And all this other stuff. And then they couldn't really comprehend what he was saying, because they were like, wait, what? You know, so he's like, it's me. Does my father still live? All right, don't be upset about you guys selling me into slavery and all this other stuff that happened. Y'all meant it for bad, but God meant it for good. So whatever. Is my father still alive? They're like, yeah, he's still alive. And he like, bring him down here. Bring father, bring all y'all families, bring everything. Y'all can live here. Don't worry about your possessions, because I'm going to take care of you and things of this nature. And they all hugged each other and cried, and they talked for a while and stuff like this. Okay, so he sent them away with, you know, chariots and stuff like this to go get all their stuff and come back, right? So here they come, and they like, Father, they go back to Canaan. They like, Father, Joseph's still alive. And Jacob's like, he like not easily moved or whatever. He's like, okay. And then he looked around, and he's seen all this stuff. All the stuff that they came back with, the chariots and things like this and the gold and stuff. And he was like, Joseph alive? For real? Okay. He's like, man, it's enough that my son is still alive. All right, I'm going to go see him too. You know, so he went to pack all this stuff up and go see Joseph. And that concludes this video. Thanks for listening. God bless. Take care.